Today we have a awesome road masterclass on a roadmap to a 50K year. So this is a live recording, and I'm actually on time for once. Usually I like to squeak in at about 2 minutes late. So hopefully I'm in the right spot. I'm in the Facebook event. And oh, I'm starting to see some comments, so that's good. All right, awesome. Carla, yay, Carla's one of my favorite people. Let's see here. Whitney, Dawn, Kelly, Mike, Jen, Donald, Charles, Connie. Hello, everybody. Glad you could be here. Some of you may be snowed in. We just had a snowstorm sweep across the Midwest there, and a lot of our southern states that aren't used to getting snow got snow. So hopefully everybody's staying warm and safe. Some people got that ice storm. We had ice storm last year, and that was not fun whatsoever. So, all right. Woo, wow, we got a lot of people on here. Awesome. Yay, people happy that they can make it. Replay, if you guys do have to hop off later, the replay is going to be available, so don't worry about that. All right, woohoo. All right, we've got a lot of excited people, so yay, that is awesome. Let's see here. Let me pull up my notes here. So I've got a slideshow going. I'm in this little circle here, as you can see. So welcome to the 50K Masterclass. So I basically am sharing with you how I would plan my year. All right. I get questions a lot, like you know, how I sell this or how I do this, and sometimes I get questions of like how I created my success, like the last 10 years. I don't know, which is a bit of a loaded question, you know. And that I just can't leave it in a comment. So it's just better to have you understand kind of how I think. And I do think differently than most. I go big or I go home. I treat businesses like a business, not an emotional roller coaster. If you want success, you have to have a business acumen and the discipline to go with it. A lot of people don't understand that discipline part, all right? But just that mindset, that's the beginning of when I went from corporate job to full-time woodworker instead of just side hustle woodworker. And here's the thing, if I was starting today, so say I had to start from scratch, it's January, it's still the beginning of the year, we've got a ton of time. If I started from scratch with the goal of making $50,000 this year, selling my woodworking projects, I know exactly what I would do. From my experience over the past 20 years and building a six-figure woodworking business. So, and that's what today is about. I'm going to walk you through my exact process step by step. So it's not going to be a lot of fluff or theory. It's literally a practical roadmap I would follow to hit a 50K goal. All right. Move that little circle in the thingy. I have a second screen over here, and that's the slideshow. So that's what if I'm looking back and forth, that's what I'm looking at. So here's some pictures of me. This is quite a few years ago, and I didn't always, have this all figured out. I still don't have everything figured out, by the way. But like many of you, I started off doing craft shows, wondering if this, woodworking thing could ever become a real business. I was making sales, sure, but it was pocket change. It was just, kind of a side hustle. And it wasn't until I discovered choosing my channels and building product lines, that's when everything changed. I went from, making some money here and there to running a six-figure Etsy shop while having time for my family, because that's one of my very important not goals, I should say. What's the word I'm looking for? One of my pillars, something I stand for. I think everybody should have time for their family, okay? Because if you don't, what's the point? And now I run my Woodcraft Blueprints membership, so I get to teach creative woodworking projects. And just a quick story, because some of you may be new here. Some of you may not be, some may be new, but for the new people, I learned woodworking 20 years ago at a custom stair shop. It was down the road from me. And I was like sweeping up sawdust while going to school part-time. And then they kind of asked me if I wanted to do a little bit of this, so they taught me the bandsaws, making rosettes, and then they kind of just, added some odd jobs here and there. And then they had a guy leave, asked me if I wanted to be full-time. I said yes, even though I was scared. But I ended up, learning how to run everything. So, and I loved it. But it was custom stair shop, really nice homes. In 2009, the housing market crashed. Unfortunately, that stair shop, we didn't have any business, so he closed his doors. And I went back to college, got the good job, still did woodworking as a hobby because I always loved it. But then when my first son was born, I realized I did not want to work for someone else. So one night, which there was a lot of years and moments leading up to it, but I sat at my kitchen table and I thought about what skills I had, and just what could actually transfer into income. And of course, I thought of woodworking. So I got serious about my Etsy shop, and I grew that to out earning my corporate job income. I was a marketing assistant then, which I was a marketing assistant trapped in an entrepreneur's body. But the woodworking was like my gateway out of there. So anyway, and yeah, so then that turned into my Etsy shop, and then I started my membership to help others create easy projects and businesses too. So I'm definitely a creative entrepreneur. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so by the end of this masterclass, you're going to walk away with a plan to hit your income goal. And I really want you to think about this year, not like someday, but actually, like this is going to happen this year. And you're going to see the exact steps I would take if I were in your shoes. And most importantly, we're going to do the math that changes everything, the math that most woodworkers and crafters never do, and that's probably, my assumption, that's why they stay stuck. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, take some notes. This is just going to be a practical, hands-on, and useful for you. We're going to spend time on a 4-step system, okay? And this is how I approach almost everything still to this day. All right, let's go. Step 1, we're going to list our sales channels. Like I said, if I wanted to make 50K, even 10K, if I want to make $10,000 this year, the first thing I would do is get crystal clear on where I can sell my work, okay? Not where everyone else is selling, or you know what I mean, just like where can you realistically sell, because if you don't have a place to sell, you can't make money. Like, that's just the first place. So let's start out by listing all of your options. As a woodworker, these are some general places and common ones that I broke down here. So you've got craft shows and markets, which is like the traditional route that most of us start with. You've got consignment shops where your work sits in someone else's store. You can have local retail partnerships, so that would be a boutique, a winery, a coffee shop, or just some kind of like home goods store in your area where you would sell either wholesale or on consignment too. There's also social media direct sales, so you can sell through Instagram or Facebook, including Facebook Marketplace, which is a great place to sell. And then you also have online platforms like Etsy, Shopify, or anywhere like you have your own website. Plus, there's other wholesale opportunities where you sell in bulk to retailers, and that could be local or online. Online, I know Faire, F-A-I-R-E, is a very popular one, okay? Now, these are just our options. You don't need to do all of these, and in fact, you shouldn't try to do all of them. Just narrow down a few, okay? So I don't like to have all my eggs in one basket. So I would never just pick one. I would pick a few, something manageable. So here's what I want you to do, and you can do this now or later, but just do a channel audit, and take a screenshot of this if you need to, so you can remember. But you want to write down every possible channel that is available to you, okay? And not just and I give you a list here. There are more out there. I just listed some common ones. And just think about your specific situation, like what's available in your area, what do you have access to. And then second, mark which ones you are currently using. Okay, so like that would be any channel that you're actively selling right now. And then third, mark which ones are realistic for you to add this year. Okay, and I said realistic because if you have a full-time job, you may probably not gonna add a brick and mortar store. You know what I mean? Okay, so just sit down and think about which ones could work for you. All right. Now, step 2 is all about creating your product lines. And this is where a lot of woodworkers can go wrong. Because if you just make whatever sounds fun, or just, someone requests it, or maybe you just see a trend, you just want to copy it, you can end up with a scattered mess of random products that take forever to make, and they're just kind of hard to manage. So if I were starting today, I would get strategic about my product line from day one, because this is how you work smarter, not harder. Why do product lines matter so much? There's 4 reasons. First, there is efficiency in production. When you're making related products, you can batch your processes, like cutting similar things, using the same finishes, just repeating the same steps. It actually saves you hours rather than having to have different supplies all the time for this. You're just walking around trying to find things more often. So having a product line using similar supplies just saves time and saves your sanity. It's just easier to do. Second, easier inventory management. So instead of tracking, like 50 different items, you're tracking a few product lines with variations in there, which is just way simpler. And third, it creates a cohesive brand presence. So when someone looks at your booth, your online store, they see a collection that makes sense together, not just random stuff, okay? Because we don't want flea market vibes. And fourth, it allows for upselling and cross-selling. So when someone buys, we'll just say a wood cutting board, you can show them a matching tray or something like that. So you can actually increase average order value by doing that. So product lines aren't just nice to have, they're so important for a profitable, sustainable business, okay? Because running around scattered is not sustainable. And here's my framework. Start with 1 to 2 core product lines, not 10, 20, just a couple, 1 to 2, all right? Just start with 1. Everybody gotta start with 1. And what makes a good, strong product line? First, there's a shared theme or aesthetic. So they look like they belong together, a collection. Second, they use related production processes. So you're not completely switching gears for each product. That is especially important for wood shops in small spaces, okay? Now, who here, I'm just curious, who has a wood shop already? And if you do, would you say it's small, medium, or big? All right. Go ahead and drop that in the comments. I started with I actually had a big area at one time. Well, actually, I lied. I have a small area, then I had a big area. and then we moved, and I had a small area again. So I always adapted, you know. And my Etsy shop that I had was rustic wedding decor, and using the same lumber and the same stain and the same tools really helped me save on space. Like, it's very important, something to think about. Like I'm saying, like, I'm not just saying this for fun, like for theory. Like, this is actually very practical. So let me know in the comments, um, what what your shop is. So looks like people are saying small shed. Don't have a workshop yet. Small area in my basement. Small space. Somebody does have a large area. Have a small shop, not heated. Yes. Those propane heaters, by the way, with the heater heads, do really put off a lot of heat, and they're pretty cheap to get. So just a quick tip. So a lot of people are saying small and medium. So Kayla has a quarter of her husband's shop, which is actually, I had a third of our barn before we had a new barn. Oh, somebody said move the circle. Sorry. Yeah, I forget about that little thing. Maybe I can put it up here. So yeah, so that's why product lines really are important too, is so that you aren't, so you're not cramped, you know. It just, when you save on space, everything kind of flows a little bit better. So actually, I didn't talk about multiple price points. Okay, I got sidetracked. Another thing about the product lines that is important is having the multiple price points. Okay, so some products you can have are like basically a cheap, a medium, and a high. So entry level, mid-range, and a premium product, and that lets customers buy at different price points. Okay. And fourth, room for expansion. So you can add new products to the line over time without completely starting over. All right. And that's the foundation of a smart product strategy. And I put together a couple quick examples just so you kind of get the idea. But here's one, a simple one: Barnstar Home Decor. You know, you can have this ranging from $20 to $200. But you see how they fit together? They have a similar aesthetic, colors. They use similar production techniques. So plus you're targeting the same customers, and that saves a lot of time, like your marketing efforts, you know, that will save you time as well. But I say the different price points is what's really great about a product line like this as well. Everything works together, and you got variety and different entry points for customers. Here's another example. This is a little dog lover collection. You've got an elevated dog bowl holder here, leashes, and dog beds. So this would be targeting a specific customer, which is a dog owner or a dog lover. And when someone sees your booth or your shop and they're a dog person, they immediately connect. And when they see like a group of something they like, they just don't go like, oh, do I want this or not? Their brain is thinking, which one do I want? So they're probably going to buy something, hopefully more than one thing, because you have everything they need. Okay, now before we move on, I want to say this: you don't need everything, you know, perfect on day one. Like, everything evolves. Okay, you just have to get started and get going. Your product lines will evolve. Your products will evolve. Everything's going to evolve at some point. Okay, and you'll test things with customers and see what actually sells. You'll drop products that don't work, and you'll double down on the things that do work. It's not a just set it and forget it thing. It's always a work in progress. So give yourself permission to start, test, and adjust. The important thing is that you're being strategic and just not random. Okay? Now we're going to move on to step 3. And this is where it starts to get a little bit more real. Okay? I run profitability checks on everything. And this could be a rude awakening for some. because making sales and making money are not the same thing. You can be busy selling products, but you can be breaking even or even losing money. And I do see this. So woodworkers or makers who are working their tails off, making things, selling at craft shows, but if you run the numbers, they could be making $5 an hour, or worse, just, losing money. So if I wanted to have sales of $50,000 this year, I would ruthlessly check the profitability of every single product before I invest time and money into making inventory. So let me show you how. This is a quick formula for profit. It's simple, so don't skip it. Your sales price, okay, so the sale price of your item minus, you need to add up your materials, your time, and your overhead. You add those together, sale price minus cost, basically. So it's price minus cost equals your profit, okay? And most of you guys probably know that. It gets a little harder once you start looking into a product. But the best thing you can do, by the way, if you are not sure, is just to give your best guess, because that will get you closer than not doing it. For each product, I do profitability for every product, okay? So here's what I would do for each one. I would make it from start to finish, choose a product, make it start to finish. You don't need to rush or skip steps, just like your normal production pace, okay? And then calculate in your cost. So that would be your materials, your time if you want, and also any overhead that you have. And then I would run those numbers using that profitability formula. And this is non-negotiable. You have to know your products are actually profitable before you start making inventory, okay? And if it's not profitable, then, oops, I almost said my next slide. Because I really do say this a lot. If it's not profitable, it's done. It doesn't go forward. It goes to the boneyard. And I don't care how beautiful it is or how many you're selling. I don't care if you love making it or whatever. If the numbers don't work, you have two choices. Fix the pricing or cut the product, okay? If something's not profitable, raise the price. That's the first step. If it doesn't sell after that for some reason, then it doesn't go forward. And by the way, don't be afraid to raise your prices. You'd be really surprised. I see a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this too sometimes. I still am. Raise your prices. People are still going to buy it. It just be different people. And when you raise your prices, people think oh, it's a better quality product. You know what I mean? So you need to make sure it's quality made, but raise your prices. You'd be totally surprised. All right, but this is business. If you want to make $50K this year, you cannot afford to spend your time making products that don't make money. So this is a difference between a hobby and a business. Step 4, do the money math. So this is what changed everything for me when I really went from side hustle to full-time woodworker. Because up until now, we've been planning. We've been thinking about channels, products, profitability. But now we're going to do the actual math to see if your plan can get you to $50K in sales. And for most woodworkers, this is where they realize that what they thought maybe would not work or doesn't actually work. So let's run some numbers. And I'm saying $50K in sales, not in profit, because $50K in profit would probably be $100K in sales. And in your first year, it's definitely very possible, but is it realistic for most people? Probably not, because we're growing this as we're probably working or doing something else. So just want to be honest with you. I'm talking $50K in revenue, okay? If you want $50K in profit, you're going to want to sell $100K, which is definitely doable. Don't get me wrong. Is it probably typical? No, I grew my business. I always grow my businesses on the side. So let's map this out. My scenario, I want to make $50K this year. That's my goal. My primary sales channel, I need to go, I'm trying to move my little circle there. So my primary sales channel now, let's say, is craft shows. And that's a great place to start and keep on doing, by the way. But the question is, can I make 50K doing craft shows? So let's do some math and figure this out here. All right. Using some realistic numbers, let's just say on average, your craft show revenue is $1,000 for a day or a weekend. I'll just say that as an average. Might do less, might do more. Let's say the booth fee for that is $150. So my sales for that show are, I'm actually just gonna net $850 for that show, but so $1,000 a show, not bad, but I would have to do 50 shows a year. And right now, like in January, the last thing I want to be doing is unloading, loading, and setting up. So now, does that number surprise you? Do you think it would be more or less? 50 shows in a year is a lot. To me, that means every weekend, all year long, no breaks. There's 52 weekends in a year, and I would have to set up at 50. So to me, that's not going to work. I still love shows, don't get me wrong. It's just not going to get me to 50K. So, and that's the math that I did years ago. I have a family. I want to be there for them. I want to be at all my kids' games and activities, and I want the weekends where we can just be together without having to worry about, setup and sales and tearing down and all that fun stuff. I needed to look at other sales channels that would allow me to be home more, channels that could generate income without requiring me to physically be there every single weekend. And that's when I discovered the solution that changed everything for me. So selling online was my bridge to the 50K goal. And it's not just about selling online. Like, I know what you're probably saying, so just stick with me. So why sell online? First of all, it makes sales 24/7. While you're sleeping, orders come in. While you're working in your shop, orders come in. While you're watching a baseball game, orders come in. Second, there's no weekend commitment. You set your own hours. You're not tied to a booth. You're not dependent on the weather, and you can live your life. And third, it's a consistent income stream once you get it set up and going. There's no total feast or famine like shows do. So orders come in throughout the week and throughout the month. There are some ebbs and flows, of course, but for the most part, it's really consistent. And fourth, it fills the gaps between shows. So you can still do craft shows, like I can still do craft shows, but now you're not dependent on them for 100% of your income. All right. And it smooths out those seasonal fluctuations. So when craft shows, because I think like Christmas is the best time for craft shows. Fall, I do Christmas first and then fall if I was to rank them. And so selling online kind of helps fill those gaps, basically. Like when the craft season slows down, Etsy keeps going. So that's what will allow me to build a sustainable business. So why sell online? If you've got craft shows marked, it's great. They're spread out. You've got free weekends. You got time with your family. Consistent income flow from selling online that keeps money coming in even on the weeks that you're not doing a show. So that, to me, that's a sustainable business model. It's how you can make 50K without burning out. And this is how you can make an income that lasts. So that is exactly what I would do if I were starting today. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, okay, that sounds great, but I don't know how to make selling online work. I don't know how to get the sales. Where is the best place to sell? I tried it before and nothing happened. Do I sell on Shopify, which is your own website? Do I sell on Facebook? Do I sell on Amazon? And that's what we're going to talk about next, because selling online is not just about listing products and hoping for the best. there are specific systems that work, and that's what I want to show you, okay? Oops, click over there. So I've done lots of selling different places and things, and the one thing that allowed me to go from side or part-time to full-time, side hustle to full-time, was Etsy. Ain't no doubt about that. I had set up at a show, and when my Etsy shop was starting to go, like, gain momentum, and I was actually set up some cake stands at a show thinking it's spring, people might like them, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't sell, I mean, nobody even really looked at them. And a lady bought a cake stand, which it was just a wood box, by the way, to put dog toys in. So it's just funny that online you have hundreds of thousands of people looking, whereas in person, you know, a few thousand at that exact moment in time. Whereas online, it's just, there's people always online buying, but they're searching. They have search intent, and that is what is really different, okay? Now, Etsy isn't like just about replacing craft shows entirely. It's about bridging the gap. So it's about creating a business model that works for your life. And let me show you what I mean. So I would aim for, let's just say, 10 shows a year, and so that'd be not one a month, 10 a year. That's doable. Let's say the revenue is $2,000 for a weekend, so that's $20,000, okay? And that's realistic. But then on another platform, we need to aim for $3,000 a month, okay? Which that is definitely doable as well. And why Etsy over Shopify? I do get this question a lot. If you make your own website, and you use Shopify is the e-commerce platform, by the way, you are not going to magically get sales. The answer is no, unless you have some kind of huge social media following. Do you have 50,000 people on Facebook that follow you and are active, that you can push that traffic to your website? If you don't, then Shopify just doesn't work, okay? You have to have an email list. You have to have your own traffic. You can do all the SEO in the world, and you still can't compare to the traffic you're going to get from Etsy. Etsy has built-in traffic, and that is why they charge fees, because it's their traffic. That's why Etsy took me from side hustle to full-time, because they have their own built-in traffic. It's perfect for handmade people, and it's easy to use. So Etsy sounds great, right? Well, sales while you sleep, but a lot of people stop from making it work because they say things like, I don't know how to set it up. What do I list? How do I price? Is this the same as craft show pricing? How do I ship large items? I can't ship large items. Will my stuff even sell on Etsy? Is there actually a market for handmade woodworking? And the big one that I hear a lot is, I tried Etsy and got 0 sales. I listed a few things and nothing happened, so I gave up. And if that sounds familiar, like if you've thought any of these things before, you're not alone, because these are actual obstacles that keep talented woodworkers from building successful Etsy shops. But here's what I want you to know. These are all solvable problems, every single one of them. I have helped makers just like you earn sales on Etsy. These aren't special people with special skills. They're woodworkers just like you who were exactly where you are now. This testimonial here is from an anonymous student. The Etsy Launchpad is very informative and easy to follow. I was able to see my weak points in my listings, and once corrected, I received sales. So can't beat that. That was from somebody who already had it set up, then went through my program and kind of redid everything, and then they started getting sales. So I want to make sure this is worth your time and you can start making money on Etsy. So that is why I have designed the Etsy Launchpad for success. Denise says Jen was very knowledgeable and supportive when it came to explaining exactly how Etsy works. The details she provided prompted me to list products on Etsy in a confident manner that I hadn't before. So this is what's possible when you understand the system. It is different. It's not a social media platform. I have another testimonial from Terry. And she just basically said she got the support, guidance, and community that actually help. So it's not about being like naturally good at technology or marketing. It's just about you can just follow a proven system. And this testimonial is from Carrie. Real demonstrations on product photography, not just slides. So my program is live. We go through it together. It's 8 weeks, and it comes with accountability. It's not just here's a course, go through it. Just go through it. Hope good luck. No, I'm there with you, doing it every single week. So. But here's what you need to understand. Etsy operates differently than in-person shows. It's not just list and pray. You can't just put up some photos and descriptions and hope people find you, because that just doesn't work. It's also not the same as craft shows. At a craft show, people walk by your booth. They see your products. They talk to you. Online, you have to be found first. Then you have to convince someone to buy without ever, seeing it in person, like touching it, holding it, feeling it. So it's a different game. But the good news is there's a specific system that works, proven strategies that get you found, build trust, and convert browsers into buyers. And that is exactly what I teach. So what actually works on Etsy, there are 5 components that every successful listing needs, okay? There's SEO that gets you found, photography that gets the click, descriptions that get the sale, pricing that's profitable, and shipping that makes sense. So when you get all 5 of these right and you make sales, then you are well on your way to having a big business. So, but most people don't know how to do all 5, or they get 1 or 2 and wonder why they're not getting sales. So this is where my program comes in. And so this is the Etsy Launchpad. It's my 8-week program, takes you from 0 to first sale and beyond, okay? And I say get you to your first $1,000 in sales, because once you hit that $1,000, boom, baby, you can have $100,000, okay? It's just getting that momentum going. That is the hardest part. An object in motion stays in motion. It's like getting that big boulder pushed. That's the hardest part. But once it starts rolling, it keeps rolling, okay? So my program is specifically designed for woodworkers and other handmade artists who want to build a profitable Etsy shop without the guesswork, without all the trial and error, and without wasting months or even years trying to figure out on your own. Everything you need to know is laid out step by step over 8 weeks. And let me walk you through that here. So we have it structured out in different trainings, and basically every week's different, has a different theme. There's homework every week too. But working through these modules, these live trainings, this is what's going to help you be successful. So I want you to go from I don't know where to start to I have a profitable Etsy shop getting sales. Included in the Etsy Launchpad, we have step-by-step video trainings. Everything you need to do is explain, and I do screen recordings on some things. I do walkthroughs and examples. There's also templates and swipe files included, so you can use those while you're learning. There's also community support, so you get access to a private Facebook group where you can ask questions, share progress, and learn from other woodworkers who are on the exact same journey. There's also the live Q&A calls, so I will host a regular live Q&A. You can pre-submit questions or ask them live. You can get your questions answered. Whatever is holding you back that day, that week, you can ask, and I will get those. I'll get those questions answered, and I did shop audits and listing audits last year, and those are really good too. So. And also, there's just real examples from woodworkers like you. So you're not learning, just in theory. Like, the examples are actually tangible and make sense. Like seeing real shops, real listings, and real strategies. And this is everything you need to succeed on Etsy. There are also bonuses when you join. I added one, like a Chat GPT one, that it's a special link and it's going to help you write listings. So it's super, just super helpful. I mean, it will just save you hours of time, literally. Okay. And there's also a bunch of bonuses I have added in. Well, I shouldn't say a bunch. They're very specific and very helpful. Okay. But there's a listing guide. I have a description template that you can use. There's a photography checklist. So it goes along with the photography training that you can print off and take when you go to take photos of your products. Then you can be like, oh yeah, I didn't get that shot. Oh, I didn't do this, Oh, I forgot to get that, So you have a checklist so you can make better use of your time. There's also a bonus of the shipping supplies starter guide. So I actually have links to places where I get shipping supplies from, just to help shortcut that for some people. There's also more bonuses in there. We have a listing guide, the template, the photography checklist, and the shipping supplies starter guides. So you can see the gap between where you are now, or just what were your sales for 2025. And you know that doing 50 craft shows may not be the answer, okay? So the question is, are you going to take action, or are you going to keep doing what you've always been doing and hoping things will magically change? The Etsy Launchpad is how I can help you turn your hobby into full-time income. It's how you bridge that gap. And you can make 50K without burning out. So it's how to build a sustainable business that gives you freedom instead of trapping you. Like, this is your roadmap. This is a system. This is your solution. But are you ready to do this? And if you are ready, here's what to do next. Click the link below this video. I will drop that in the comments. And the program actually starts on February 10th, which is in 2 weeks. And then it's an 8-week program. So in April, you could have a fully functioning Etsy shop making you sales, okay? So don't wait and don't think about it for weeks. Like, the time to act is now. Commit now, and then you can get your shop set up. So I'm going to, before I wrap up, I was gonna open it up for some questions. So if you're here live, drop your questions in the chat. I'll scan through and try to see what I can get. Because I know some people have some questions, and I do have some few minutes left from that. So yes, how much time per day is needed to do it? That's a really great question. So the weekly trainings are just like an hour, but you want to keep your, put my little thing there. You want to be able to devote a couple hours a week into getting your Etsy shop set up. I would say, like, I always worked on mine during my lunch break, and then also in the evenings after I put my son to bed. So I always just kind of squeaked in pockets of time, But the more active the more effort you put in, the more active you are, like you will see the dividends pay out. So, let's see here. Did not ask if we're already on Etsy but brand new. Can you help? Oops, I just lost it. Can you help with existing first listing? Yes. I had some people last year when I did this program that they had already had their shop set up, but it wasn't optimized very well. So they just kind of redid some things and improved it, and then started getting sales. So even if you have one set up and it's just not getting any traction, this would definitely be a good place for that. And yeah, I do talk about more of the shipping process in the program for sure. And there are different options. So Beth Ann asks about including shipping in the price and advertises free shipping. And there's different strategies you can do to absorb that shipping cost. There's like I used to include the shipping cost in the price of the products. But that doesn't always work for every product. It kind of depends on the product. So Mina, yeah, so the trainings are always recorded. You have lifetime access to them after a training's finished. A special private link is sent to you, and there's a private playlist library. You get that forever, okay? So yeah, you don't have to be there live. And I do have all the lives kind of staggered. They're different times so that I try to hit people's lunch breaks, like the different time zones in the US. Bill asks, how much inventory do you have to keep on hand for popular items for Etsy sales? It depends on how much you are getting and how much space you have, because like I had my few best sellers. I would have a few built but not stained, because I offer different stain options. And because I had I didn't have a lot of space, I had to be very mindful of my space. I would have cake stands ready to go and not stained. So, but if I had other listings that weren't as popular, I usually didn't have inventory made to go. Now back then, see, now people want everything shipped really fast. So if you on your Etsy, if you say, custom order time is, say your production time is, we'll just say 2 to 4 weeks, that's probably way too long. You want to keep it ideally under a week. Under 2 weeks would probably be a better idea, or just depending on what time you have. So, but all that to say, you don't have to have a ton of inventory. In fact, I don't recommend doing that until you have sales, and then you can see, oh, this is selling good. Then you're gonna want to have inventory of that. Okay, the faster you ship, the more items the more sales you'll get. Okay. Let's see here. I'm looking, just reading some more comments here. Holly asks, I just finished my first project today. Should I hold off doing an Etsy shop until I get a little more experience? Kind of depends. See, I don't know. Okay, let me just put it this way. Some people will go their whole lives thinking they don't have enough experience, if that makes sense. Okay? So don't be one of those people. Even if you're just starting, you can still, like on Etsy, you can sell anything. Simple stuff to complicated stuff. I sold simple stuff, and people still can't get over how simple of the stuff that I sold. So you don't have to be like a pro woodworker by any means. You can sell the littlest things on Etsy, honestly. So I wouldn't let any experience hold you back, okay? But people also use experience as an excuse. And that was trying to say it nicely earlier. Don't let that be an excuse, okay? Greg and Danette, yes, you could. If you, like I said, you could factor shipping into your price for sure. That's what I did. But on the lower ticket items, that's harder to do. So there's different strategies that you can use. Grace says Jen brings lots of value, and she's very organized and very detailed compared to everybody else for sure. Well, thank you. All right, Jeff is excited. I'm excited for the Etsy training because I have Etsy for 3 to 5 years and never changed anything and only a few sales. Okay. Yes, definitely. And like I said too, I do shop audits, so I can go into your shop. I'll do it live or I'll record it, and I'll just automatically do some suggestions that you can start implementing today. And one thing I do say, if you have something that is selling, don't touch it. Just leave it alone. But for your other listings that aren't selling, then that's our time to play with that and try to get that up. So. Rachel, I set my shop up in 2019, but I didn't know what I was doing. It's still technically active. I don't think you need to reset it up. I probably would just keep it, and you can change the name if you want, because 2020 and 2019 was a long time ago. So you can definitely change your, you can change everything. You know what I mean? You can even change the email address. So I would just keep it. I don't think it's necessarily hurting you. Okay. How deep do, sorry, I'm like finding the comments and then a new comment and I just, okay. Mary Ann asks, how do I join the private group? I pay for a monthly membership. Oh, okay. So the Woodcraft Blueprints membership is totally separate from this Etsy program. But if you do join the membership, as soon as you check out, there's welcome emails sent to you. And one of the welcome emails also includes how to access all of your content. So Rob says, do you still have an Etsy shop? No, I still have it there. It's a wooden wedding. But I took all the listing, I deactivated all of them because I was putting it on vacation mode while I was trying to create stuff for the membership. And I realized one day, I'm just kind of half-assing both of these things, and I needed to decide either the Etsy shop or the membership. And that's when I went forward with the membership. So, but I do still dream about starting another one or just flipping that one back on. I don't know. Just because it's fun. Emily says, how many products do you recommend starting with if I'm starting fresh? You want to have, if you were to open a shop, I recommend having, well, first of all, to open a shop, you have to have one listing. That is Etsy's bare minimum. So technically, you need one. I would probably list at least 3 when you're first starting, and then keep adding a listing a week. Okay. Tina, they're going to be at different times of the day. I kind of staggered them, just made them a little bit different. Do you have to have a product line to join this class? Jesse asks. No, you do not have to have a product line already, but that is something that we would work on. Okay. I go a little bit deeper into a product line as well. So you don't have to have it. Like, you don't have to have all the answers and all the products and everything, but I would have at least 2-3 products in mind. And then we can talk about how to make those into product lines. Hi, Anna. Yes, this will be, this masterclass will be posted on a replay for sure. Lisa asks, what is the website to sign up? I think the link should be posted. I think Alicia will post it again here. Jewel says, does everyone get a shop audit? I actually offered it to everybody last year, and not everybody took me up on it, but I will do, I open up like hot seats, and I can't 100% guarantee a shop audit, but more than likely, yeah, you'll get one. So but I also asked them, like, if you had a listing audit or a whole shop audit, and I did a lot last year. So, but it's really fun, and it's really good to see other people's shops too, you know. So yeah. Oh, Anna says answer there. Okay, yeah. I have Alicia on the team has been dropping the link. Well, thank you, Danette. She says, you are super great at what you do. We feel super blessed to be here. Yay! Yeah, all right. Kathy, do you have to have an Etsy shop already? No, absolutely not. So if you are just starting out, like say you have one and it's dead, or you want to start one. So I have a special training at the very beginning that's not live, and it's the walkthrough of setting up because there's all these little technical things. So that is what that very first training is. So I tell you like what things you have to have ready, and that. Ron says we'll be doing another Launchpad program later in the year. I don't know. That is undecided. I don't know yet. Oh, somebody asked SEO. Sorry, my bad. SEO is search engine optimization. And that, like, when you Google something, that is what Google picks up. All the algorithms use SEO. Etsy uses it as well. It has their own. Cecilia says, I hope this gets me over the confusion of setting up an Etsy shop. That is where I would like to sell. Not sure I would enjoy craft shows. So much work setting up and taking down. Yes, that's true. I mean, I do like craft shows. I think they're fun and exciting, but Etsy is also very fun and exciting. Hearing the cha-ching is just, it never gets old. But yeah, craft shows are a lot of work. So that is one thing. Every time I'm tearing down, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So yeah. Tina asks if your product is personalized. How does that work with Etsy as far as shipping times? Your production time, you set your production time. So if it takes 2 days, that's what you set it as. If it's 5 days, so if something's personalized, you know, like I would have, I don't know what your product is, but first of all, I would say nothing's going to ship within 24 hours. Like normally people may not expect that, but I would just keep it down as low as you can. You get an order in. How can you have your base product ready? And so all you have to do is personalize it, and then you could have it out faster. You could have it out in 3 days or whatever that may be. So, yeah, Timmy says thank you for your time to talk with us. Awesome. Thank you. Robert, yes. The program, so if you can't go through the live version and want, say, maybe in July or something, you decide you want to do it, you can purchase the program, but you'll be watching the replays. So I would say, I mean, I feel like you'd want to go through the live program though, because it helps keep you accountable. So there's a lot of courses out there, as you guys probably know, but it's like they say watch at your own pace. Well, watch at your own pace means they're pre-recorded, they're there. You just watch at your own pace, but it's not as fun when you're doing it as a group. You're doing it together. It's a lot more fun. It's motivating. It helps keeps you accountable. When people assign you homework, that thing. So I would highly encourage to do the live if you can. If you can't, yeah, you can purchase it later, but it will just be replay version, and it will be at 347. So, okay. Well, thank you, Ray. Yay. Okay, Suzanne. Woohoo. All right. Awesome. Diane just signed up. Yay. I'm so excited. I actually started this, so as you guys know, in my membership, I teach woodworking projects. And I do have some business trainings in there, but I don't get deep into Etsy because Etsy is a totally different, it's just totally different. And I don't want a bunch of selling online conversations in the membership and confusing, you know, newer people. And the Etsy program, like I want people who are serious and actually put the work in. I do not want somebody to, because it just takes, you know, an hour to set up a shop. I don't want somebody to set up a shop, say I set up a shop and it's not working, because it just doesn't work like that. You have got to kind of got to learn, you know, the little ins and outs of it, and then like keep it active, like keep keep going. You know, you got to stay with it. It takes it takes some grit, it takes some work. You know, so that's why that's why I did this separately, and I didn't even do this for years, but I feel like Etsy is just a missing piece because there are a lot of people that want to do woodworking or crafting full time, and they're selling in person, nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but I know, like, there's no way I would ever be able to sell $10,000 a month in person here where I live. Like, I was doing that on Etsy consistently, but there's no way I could do that here. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. It's like selling online. It's this missing piece, and people, bad talk Etsy, and or they think it's too intimidating, and really it's not, honestly. So I just want to be everybody's biggest cheerleader, and just really help get that going. So. Let's see here. Sharon, I use ChatGPT to list my stuff. Well, when you say list your stuff, do you mean like on Etsy? There's nothing wrong with using AI, although you will get kind of, what's the word? Over exaggerated listing descriptions and things like that. But ChatGPT will give you a ton of information. My program, it's organized. I tell you what is important, what is not important, and also we're doing it together, okay? Plus, me being a seasoned Etsy seller, having my eyes on your stuff is really kind of what helps people as well. So, but just doing it live, doing it together, that is what that makes it a great program, not just in taking information, but implementing it, putting it into action, getting homework, being accountable, all the things. Oh, yay, Greg Danette can't just purchase. Yay. I'm very excited for you guys. Mark, the lives are actually going to be at different times, but they're either at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m. I think there's a 2 p.m. I kind of staggered them in the middle of the day like that. Hopefully people can hit them on their lunch breaks. So, Sherry, yes, ChatGPT is free to use. Yes. And one of the things I did include is a listing writer. It's a custom GPT to help you write. And I have inputted my expertise, my information to help you write listings. Because ChatGPT can write listings for you now, but they're just kind of generic, honestly. So that's why I made a custom GPT. Let's see here. Jewel asks if you are familiar with Etsy and have made sales but need more to meet goals, what percentage of this will be helpful? I don't know if I can put a percentage on there. It depends on how many sales. If you had a handful of sales, like if it's generally a dead shop, this will definitely help. But I mean, if you're making lots of sales every day, you probably are doing something right, but if it's more of a dead shop, then this will definitely help you go through it and get your shop optimized. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you, everybody that's joined me so far, and I've already seen some people have joined, so that is awesome. I just want to say thank you for being here today. I hope this class helped give you some clarity, a plan, and really to show you that making $50K a year is totally possible. So if you're ready to make it happen, click the link below or scan this QR code and enroll in the Etsy Launchpad. I can't wait to see you inside the program and watch you build your profitable Etsy shop. So now go ahead and take action, and hopefully I'll see you on the inside. All right, bye.